Hey folks, I had a request to do a video about uses of my oils. Um, I am the owner and sole proprietor of Conjured Cardea. My website is www.shop.conjuredcardea.com, and I have about 200 oils listed. I probably make a total of about 400 recipes. Eventually, one of these years, I've had this business for 6 years. Eventually, I'll get them all on there, but it's a lot of oil. So I just spent the last 2 days listing new services and items, and I've put up about 4 new services and about 13 new items, some new candles and incense, and a bunch of new house and bath washes. So those are all there. And yeah, I finally had to take a couple of creative days and kind of let down. It's really important to do that because I just get so many ideas and I need to get them out. So I keep little post-it notes and I write my ideas on them next to my bed and next to my computer in my work area. So when I get an idea, I write it down, and then later on, if it's a bad idea, I don't make it. And if it is, if I think it's something that's going to be useful for the shop and useful for my clients, then I do make it. So, yeah. So my oils, it's a very, very common question. People will buy an oil and then right after they get it or right after they bought it, they'll write me and they go, "Well, how do I use this?" I am one of the few people I have found in my years of having an online business that does not use like spells out of books. That's just not my thing. I like to come up with my own thing. If somebody needs me to work on something for them, I have my own practices that I have developed over 15 years that work for me, and I don't ever read anything out of a book. I probably did when I was like 13, 14, 15, but now I have, you develop your own practice, what works for you, and certain services for clients I'll feel called to make a packet for, or make a bag for, or do root work for. It's just, I completely go with my intuition on that. I follow a set of steps that I have come up for myself through my own practices through the years. That's what works for me. I never, ever, ever break open a book and read out of it. That's just, I have no reason to use other people's words when I have my own words. So, so people are looking for a specific set of directions on how to use my oils. I shouldn't say directions. They want a spell is what they want. And I just don't roll like that. So, people get really frustrated with me, and I can tell they're frustrated in their emails. It's just that if you want to look up a written spell, if you don't feel like you have developed a set of rules or a practice for yourself, and you are more comfortable reading specific words and specific steps written down in a book of spells, then by all means start there. But after a while, I think you'll find that a little confining. That's far too confining for me. And I find that they're really boring. So I like to be really creative in my work. I like color and flowers, and I am always telling people to involve all your senses, play music, light your incense, really have, tactile things that you can feel and work with when you're working with your roots. Just to really get in there with all your senses. It's really important. And to read something out of a book, you're just staring at paper. And you're saying words, and I think a lot of times when people read things out of books, you're reading the words, but they're not coming from your heart, and they're not coming inside, and they just don't really have any meaning. So if you're just sort of regurgitating, what you've read in books, I really encourage you to take some time and write out the parts of the spells. Say there are spells that you have found in books that you really enjoy. Break it down and use the parts out of those that you really like. Start pulling those out, and then involve some of the things that you like in it. If you're really drawn to root work, make sure you always work that into your practices. If you're really drawn to mojuba and making mojo bags, always work that into your practice. If you're really drawn to candles, make sure you always work that into your practice. If you like to mix things up and make your own incense, make sure you make an incense for everything that you're doing. You have to put you into it. That's the way it's going to work best. And it's the way you're going to be more comfortable, and you're going to start to really develop a set of practices for yourself. So I really encourage you to get away from those books. And when you get an oil, to just follow your instincts and really try to be creative with it. So pretty much the most basic way I would tell people to use an oil is on a candle, to dress a candle. I prefer, it depends, the type of candle I'm working with, or how I dress it depends on the type of candle I'm working with. If I'm working with a novena candle, it's obviously you can only dress the top of it. You can't get down in the glass. So I do often dress the rim of the glass. But for, regular coach candles or taper candles, how I dress those depends on the purpose. Typically, I start from the middle and work up, and from the middle and work down. So that's a very that's a really basic way to cover all your bases. From the bottom down, you're gonna ground the candle and sort of push away the things that you don't want, and then the middle up, you're drawing in the things that you do, and you're releasing the obstacles. So dressing your candles, most basic way. You can also add my oils to a hot coal, like the charcoal that you use for loose incense and resin incense, which is what I work with. I prefer those because they're pure, and you get all of the achet from the resin and the herbs that you're using on there, and you don't have to worry about synthetic things like saltpeter and chemicals and dyes being in there, because I burn a lot of incense because I take 2 appointments a day, and I mean I'm breathing all of these things, and so are my children. It's in my house. So also, if you're using a synthetic cone, I do carry a few cones in my shop, but I put the oils in them so I know what's in them. There is a base, obviously, that contains saltpeter because you ignite it and it burns on its own without a coal. So, but I encourage you to try resin incense or creating your own blends from herbs that you have at your house and using them on charcoal briquettes, which I also sell in my shop. Those can be a little difficult for people to find in local stores. It's usually something that people have to order. So you can pour a few drops of oil on hot coal. You can leave a small dish of oil out as an offering. I like to do this. I don't think it's a really popular form of offering, but I will, oils are considered when you go to church and you get anointed on your head, or there's other practices involving oil that are for spiritual purification and renewal. I like to have a practice where if I'm going through, I want to do spiritual cleansing on myself, I'll put shea butter or coconut oil in my hair, and I'll wear a white cloth. Dressing your head with oil is a very traditional way of purification and renewing yourself in many religions. So the oil has always been a sacred thing. That's why we use them in churches. That's why most religions have a sacred oil that they use in rituals and services and whatnot. So there's also the tradition that if you pour a small dish of oil as an offering, that oil is supposed to smooth your obstacles and smooth your troubles. So pouring that small dish, that's sort of a symbolic way of pouring that oil over your life, and it being a healing balm or a soothing balm to calm the areas of trouble in your life. So that's another less known way of using my oils, is in offering. You can use them to dress statues also in offering. Some people choose not to do this because it can make your statues kind of gummy. Once that oil starts building up on there, and it will get sticky, and it does attract dirt and it will leave a residue. This doesn't really bother me so much. I'm not a I don't know. I'm used to dirty mojo bags and dusty statues, I guess. So that's just part of the work. That's how it goes. I do make sure to clean my statues off periodically, just to give them wiped down, just to kind of control that residue. You can also add my oils to your bath. I really encourage baths that are a spiritual bath that you work in as part of your practice. It can even be the only thing that you're doing. You could, and also encourage you to use candles while you're bathing. So take time, take a bath. A lot of people don't take baths anymore, and those were always a really traditional way of cleansing yourself and putting your magic into place, because you're enveloping your whole body with the items that you're using in your water. So the herbs that you choose to put in there, the oil that you choose to put in there, you're cloaking your body in that ashe, in that energy of your working. So, and then I recommend you burn corresponding candles, the colors, to whatever you're working on. So if you were working on, courage, you would burn a purple one, or strength, a red one, or road opening, an orange one, purification, a white one, protection, black, healing, blue, so on and so forth. And then I also like to add them into my floor washes and what I wipe down my counters with. Every day before I start work, I have to do a small cleanup of my area. I'm going to do another video called 10 ways to improve your root work, or 10 steps to improving your root work. And part of that is having a physically clean home, which also leads to spiritual cleanliness. You're far more likely to be productive, and you are far more likely to create a ritual and a practice that you're going to stick with when you start involving spiritual elements into everyday parts of life. So when, instead of, you clean up your kitchen in the morning or in the evening, maybe after dinner, whichever you prefer, and, you make a bowl of warm water and you add a couple of drops of the oil for whatever you're working on at the time. And as you're focusing on cleaning, you're spreading that around your home, and you're also training your mind to not do things thoughtlessly. So anytime you can work something in, it's kind of like working in a little meditation during what would normally just be a chore. And it's mindless work. We don't think about anything while we're doing it, but we actually are. So our mind will go to like the problems of the day, or, work sucked, or, whatever. So you'll replay your day over your head, when you're doing these things, or you'll think about your day ahead of you if you're doing it in the morning. And what a great opportunity to involve spiritual work into your everyday life. You put a little bit of oil in your wash water, and you decide that's whatever your goal is at that time. That's what or whatever you're working on in your life, that's what you're going to focus on while you're cleaning. It's super easy way. And once you start involving things like that in your practice, and you start doing things religiously and for a religious purpose, you will train your mind. And the better your mind is trained, the more effective your work is going to be, and the more success you're going to have from it, because it's all projection. It's all controlling our thoughts and projecting the ideas and the thoughts that we have for ourselves and what we want for our family out into the universe. So try to take little opportunities like bathing and cleaning your home to light a candle while you're bathing and focus your mind on what your goal is. When you're cleaning up your house, add some oil, burn some incense. So when you're in there moving around, or you're vacuuming, you're getting that smoke and that ashe around your house. These are little things that you can do that will start to add up and make a big difference, because you think about how much you clean your house, or so you'll be devoting all that time to your spiritual goals instead of just, you know, replaying the crappy parts of your day, or, you know, thinking about you know, just mindless things. So I really encourage you to try some of those ways to use my oils. Some people even add them to the wash water, like in your laundry, your washing machine. I forgot the word. So you can add just a couple of drops of oil. I wouldn't recommend it on, you know, if you're washing clothes that are silk or anything like that. I would hate for somebody's clothes to get an oil spot on it. It's never happened as far as I've been using them, because you just add just a couple of drops, so you got a lot of water in there, you know, and it's getting dispersed. But that's a really great way to also use them. And I also have people who put them in oil burners. So you have like a little tea light underneath, and there's a little bowl on the top, and you put some water in there, and then also some of the oil, and it heats it up and releases it. That's a really great way to use an oil as well, to sort of bring that shea into your environment. So I hope that brings you a few new ideas and a couple of little tips for using oils that you haven't maybe thought of before. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing your ideas on what kind of videos you would love to see. So I hope y'all have a blessed week, and thank you for watching.